The rain had been falling for 3 straight days in the small coastal town of Santa Fe, a sleepy fishing village in the Philippines where coconut trees bowed with the wind and the ocean sang endlessly against the rocks. In one of the tiny wooden huts perched near the shoreline lived Luna, a frail 12-year-old girl with dark, sun-kissed skin and deep brown eyes that shimmered like wet earth after rain. She sat by the small window, chin resting on her palm, watching droplets race down the glass. Her stomach growled faintly, but she ignored it. She had gotten used to the hunger, the empty bowls, the dry rice, the long nights with nothing but the sea breeze to comfort her. It had been a year since her mother died. Her mother, Marites, had been everything. Her light, her song, her storybook, her only family. When fever took Marites away, the world seemed to lose color. Even the sea, once so full of sparkle and life, looked dull and gray. Luna still remembered that night, the storm, the coughing, her mother's hand reaching weakly for hers. Luna, her mother had whispered, her breath shallow, if one day you feel alone, look for me in the smallest things. I'll send you a sign from heaven. Then her hand went still. Luna didn't cry that night. She sat beside her mother's still body until dawn, numb, as the village rooster crowed and life moved on without mercy. Since then, Luna had lived alone. The neighbors gave her scraps of food, old clothes, and sometimes a coin or two. But no one had the time to care for her properly. They were all fighting their own battles against poverty. Each morning, Luna would wander the shore collecting shells and sea glass to sell at the marketplace. Sometimes, if she was lucky, she found a lost coin or a piece of driftwood to trade. But today was different. The sky was heavy with silver clouds, the kind that made the ocean look like molten metal. Luna walked barefoot through the wet sand, the hem of her dress soaked. The waves rolled close, licking her toes, whispering secrets she couldn't understand. She was scanning the ground for shells when something caught her eye, a glimmer, a flash of white that seemed out of place against the gray shore. She walked closer. Lying in the sand was a single feather, pure white, almost glowing, untouched by rain or mud. Luna bent down and picked it up carefully. It was soft and light, but as she held it, warmth spread through her palm, gentle and alive. And suddenly, she could smell her mother's scent, the faint fragrance of jasmine and coconut oil that used to fill their small hut. Her heart pounded. "Mama," she whispered, trembling. A gust of wind blew, swirling the rain around her like silver threads, and for a moment, she swore she heard a familiar voice, her mother's voice, carried by the wind. "My little Luna." Her breath hitched. She spun around, but there was no one. Only the sea, the rain, and the feather clutched in her hand. Tears welled up in her eyes. "Mama, is that you?" But the only answer was the cry of distant seagulls. Still, something deep inside her stirred, a warmth, a whisper of hope that had long been buried under sorrow. She held the feather close to her chest, afraid that if she let go, it would disappear. That night, she placed the feather under her pillow before she slept. When she closed her eyes, she dreamed of her mother. Marites stood on a field of golden light, smiling, her long hair flowing like the sea at sunrise. "Luna," she said softly, "you found it." "Mama," Luna cried, running toward her. Her mother knelt and cupped her face. "That feather is my promise to you. Whenever you feel lost, remember, you are never alone. Follow the feather, and it will guide you." "But where, Mama?" Her mother smiled, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "To the place where hope lives." And just like that, Luna woke up, heart pounding, tears on her cheeks, and sunlight spilling into the hut. The storm had passed. She sat up and saw the feather glowing faintly where the sunlight touched it. The dream felt so real that she could still hear her mother's voice echoing in her heart. Follow the feather. But what did that mean? She thought about it all morning as she walked to the village marketplace. Her basket was nearly empty, and her stomach growled again. She passed by a group of kids eating grilled bananas and felt the sharp sting of hunger. An old woman, Nene Pilar, who sold dried fish, called out to her. "Luna, you look pale again, child. Come here." Luna approached shyly. Nene Pilar handed her a piece of fish wrapped in banana leaf. "Eat this. You're too thin." "Thank you, Nene," Luna said softly. As she ate, the woman noticed the feather sticking out of Luna's dress pocket. "What's that, Anik?" "A feather," Luna said. It came from my mama. She's in heaven now." Nene Pilar smiled sadly. "Maybe it's a sign, indeed. Your mama loved you dearly. She's watching you from above." Those words echoed in Luna's mind all day. Maybe her mother was watching. Maybe the feather really meant something. That afternoon, she went to the chapel on top of the hill, the one her mother used to visit every Sunday before she got sick. The chapel's white walls were cracked, the bell rusted, but the air inside smelled of candles and old prayers. She knelt before the altar, clutching the feather. "Mama," she whispered, "if this is really from you, please show me what I should do." A single ray of sunlight pierced through the stained glass window, landing directly on her hands. The feather shimmered, glowing brighter for a moment. Luna gasped softly. Then, just as the light faded, she noticed something behind the altar, a small, half-torn piece of paper wedged between the stones. She reached out and pulled it free. It was a photo, old and faded, but unmistakably of her mother, smiling, holding a baby Luna in her arms. On the back, a line was scribbled in her mother's handwriting. "If you ever find this, go to where the stars touch the sea." Luna stared at the words, her heart racing. "The stars touch the sea," she whispered. There was only one place that fit that description, the cliff at Punta de Estrella, a rocky outcrop where the ocean stretched endlessly and the stars seemed to fall straight into it at night. Her mother used to take her there when she was small. They would sit together, feet dangling over the edge, counting stars. She remembered her mother saying, "This is where heaven feels closest." Luna knew then what she had to do. That night, after the sun set, she packed her small basket, some rice, a bottle of water, and the feather wrapped in cloth. The moon rose bright over the horizon as she began her walk toward Punta de Estrella. The journey was long and steep, and the path wound through fields and forests. Crickets sang around her, and the air was cool with the scent of wet grass. But Luna wasn't afraid. The feather, tucked against her heart, seemed to pulse faintly with warmth. When she reached the cliff, she gasped. The sea shimmered under the moonlight, silver and endless. The stars hung low, almost touching the waves, just as her mother had said. She sat down at the edge and took out the feather. "Mama," she whispered, "I'm here." The wind blew gently, and for a moment, she felt something soft brush against her cheek, like a kiss. Then she saw it, glowing shapes in the distance, dancing lights hovering above the sea. They shimmered like hundreds of feathers, rising and falling with the waves. Luna pressed her hands together, tears streaming down her face. "I miss you so much," she whispered. "But I know you're here." A soft voice filled the air, not from outside, but inside her heart. "I never left, my child. I am in the wind that kisses your face, in the waves that sing you to sleep, in every feather that falls from the sky. I am always with you." Luna sobbed quietly, clutching the feather to her chest. As dawn approached, she sat there until the stars faded and the first rays of light painted the ocean gold. And when she finally stood up to leave, she noticed something unbelievable. At her feet, written in the sand, were faint words that hadn't been there before. "Live with hope, Luna. You are my forever gift." She gasped, her heart swelling with love. The feather in her hand glowed once more, brighter than ever, before slowly fading into the wind, disappearing like mist. Luna smiled through her tears. For the first time in a year, the world didn't look gray anymore. She returned to the village with a new spirit. She started helping Nene Pilar sell fish at the market, and in time, she became like a daughter to the old woman. With every act of kindness, she felt her mother's presence guiding her. One evening, as she walked home along the beach, a little boy ran up to her crying. He had lost his kite to the wind. Luna knelt and helped him look for it. As they searched, something white drifted down from the sky and landed softly on her shoulder. A feather. She smiled, her eyes glistening. She handed the boy his kite and whispered, "Sometimes, when we lose something, we find something even more beautiful." The boy beamed and ran off, his laughter echoing down the beach. Luna looked up at the sky, where the first star of the evening appeared, twinkling above the horizon. She whispered, "Thank you, Mama." And as the wind blew softly through her hair, it carried a faint whisper that only she could hear. "I'm proud of you, my little Luna." She smiled, holding her heart, watching as the sea shimmered beneath the starlight. From that day on, Luna believed, every feather that fell from the sky was her mother's way of saying I'm here. And no matter how poor she was, no matter how hard life became, Luna never felt truly alone again. Because love, she had learned, never dies, it only changes shape, sometimes taking the form of a simple white feather, floating down from heaven.